On this video, we are going to work with writing equations of linear functions if we're given 2 points. So not given a graph, but just given 2 points. So most important thing is that we use the equation y equals mx plus b. And in order to do that, we need to figure out what the m is and what the b is. So remember that the x and the y are always going to be in the equation. So those will be in there. But what we need to do is figure out what the m and the b are. All right. To do this, I like to make a chart. So I am going to actually make a pretty big chart. So I'm going to go across the page. And then down a little bit, and then I might need to extend this a little bit more after we get going. But I want 5 different columns. So, and again, might need to make this a little bit longer, but we'll get there eventually. All right, so I'm going to start with this as the chart. And we have a few steps. So what I'm going to do is up at the top right here is I'm going to fill in what the steps are. Remember with all the videos, if you need to pause to get your paper set up, then pause the video so that you can continue on. All right, what's going to happen is you are going to be given 2 points. So in this column, I'm going to write what the 2 points are. In order to write y equals mx plus b, the first thing we need to do is find the m. So a few things about finding the m is that we need to do y minus y over x minus x, and that will give us the value of m. All right, once we know what m is, we are going to use this equation and we are going to fill in the m, the x, and the y. Now, we get the m from this column, and then we're going to get an x and a y over here. We're actually going to have 2 options to choose from for the x and the y. All right, once we fill in the m, the x, and the y, we need to solve for the b. So, solve for b. And then the last step is going to be to write the equation. And the equation is going to be taking the m that we found here along with the b that we have here and then filling it into this equation right there. All right, so here we go. Let's try one. All right, first up, I'm going to give the points 1, 2, and 3, negative 4. All right, so here's our first example. So I'm going to call this example 1 out here. All right, so let's see if we can focus a little bit. Okay. All right, so first thing that we have to do here is to find the slope. So remember, when we find the slope, all we need to do is subtract our ordered pairs. But be careful. So, m equals, all right, 2 minus negative 4 is the same as 2 plus 4, so that's going to be 6. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So for the slope, we get 6 over negative 2, but we know that that is the same as negative 3. All right, so now I know that m is negative 3. All right, then we're going to go in here, and we're going to take this equation right here, y equals mx plus b, and we're going to fill in the m, which we got right here, so there's our m, and then we're going to fill in one of these x and y's, and it doesn't matter which one, we just either have to pick that xy or this xy. And I'm thinking that this one just appears to be a little easier since they're both positive. All right, so we need to do y. So y equals m times x plus b. So we just did y equals mx plus b. All right, now we need to go through and solve this for b. So this would be 2 equals negative 3 plus b. So I multiplied those together there. All right, then we need to add 3 to both sides, so it looks like b equals 5. So we're done with this step. So now the last thing we need to do is write the equation filling in the m and the b. So y equals mx plus b, and we're done. All right, so again, if you need to pause or re-watch that, then please do. All right, I'm going to draw a line, and let's try another one. All right, let's say this time, so here's example 2. So let's use the points -4, -1, and 4, 3. All right, so I'm going to start you off with 2 points. First thing we have to do is use these 2 points to find the slope. So in order to get the slope, we need to come over here and subtract. So -1 minus 3 would be -4. -4 minus 4 will be -8. And we can reduce that to be a positive 1/2. So now we know that the m is 1/2. All right, next up, we need to fill in the m, the x, and the y into our y equals mx plus b equation. So we can use whichever one we want. This time I think I might use this one. So I'm going to use that as the x and that's the y. Okay, so the equation is y equals m times x plus b. So this is the y equals mx plus b. All right, now we need to solve so that we can figure out what b is. So, all right, 1/2 of 4 is 2. And then subtract 2 from both sides, so it looks like b equals 1. Once I know what the m and the b are, all I have to do is fill it in. So y equals mx plus b. All right, good job. So again, if you need to pause or stop, then please do. All right, I'm going to draw another line. All right, let's see if we can get another example in here. Let's say that for example 3, I'm going to give you the points 7, 3, and 9, 3. All right, so first thing we have to do is find the slope. So we come over here and we subtract. So m equals 3 minus 3 is 0. 7 minus 9 is -2. But this is a slope of 0. So this is what we need to remember. When we have a slope of 0, that means we have a horizontal line. So we know that this is a horizontal line. And hopefully you remember that when we have a horizontal line, that is a y equals only line. So if we have a horizontal line, let's look back over here. What is y equal to? Well, there's the y's right there. And it looks like y is 3. So when you get a slope of 0, you don't need to go the rest of this. You know it's going to be a y equals only, and then you can fill in that y equals 3. All right, so I'm going to try and do one more example, although I'm pretty sure that the bell is about to ring. So if that happens, just bear with me because I'll probably pause to let that finish. All right, so whoops, yikes. So here we go with example 4. All right, so this time I'm going to give you the points 4, 8, and 8, 11. All right, so I've given you 2 points. So first thing we have to do is find the slope. In order to find the slope, we need to subtract. 8 minus 11 is going to be -3. 4 minus 8 is going to be negative 4. And in this case, the negatives cancel, and we get that m is 3/4. All right, now what we need to do is fill in the m, the x, and the y. So I think I'm going to use this as the x and the y. They're just smaller. All right, so y equals m times x plus b. So y equals mx plus b. All right, now we just have to work this out. So 8 equals, so this can be 4 over 1. I can cancel those 4's out. So that's 3 plus b. All right, subtract 3 from both sides, and I find that b equals 5. So now that I know what m is and I know what b is, I can write the equation because y equals mx plus b. All right, the only other thing that I want to comment is keep in mind that if you come to this slope right here and you get that the slope is undefined, then that means that you can skip down here, and this is going to be an x equals a number line. Okay, you guys are headed back to class, so I'm going to stop the video here, and you can pick up the worksheet.